Before we get into this video, I want to make it absolutely clear that the only purpose and intention of this message is for healing. We're not here to blame, we're not here to shame, we're not here to guilt. Therefore, anything that you hear in this video, the only intention that I hold is for your healing, period. Now, that being said, how do we overcome the victim mentality and step into an empowering mentality about life? Now, before we get into that, I want to give us kind of a clear cut definition of the victim mentality. Now, as far as I'm concerned, the victim mentality is a mindset or a mentality or a set of belief systems that we do not have control of the situation, circumstances of our own lives, that life is happening to us as opposed to happening through us and because of us. Therefore, the victim mentality is a mentality of powerlessness. So, why does it matter that we overcome the mentality of not having control over our lives? Well, it would seem pretty obvious to at least most of us, but believe it or not, there are still some individuals who simply see the victim mentality as the only reality that there is. So that's why I believe it is of the utmost importance to continue to reiterate why it matters to see ourselves as powerful, to see ourselves as the creators of our own life experience. This might be new information to you, or this might be something you heard in 1,000 other pieces of content. But I have to reiterate it just so it truly sticks as one of your own beliefs, is that you are truly the creator of your own life experience. Now, from the ripe age of 0 to the age of around 7, you are in what they call your unconscious or subconscious mind, and you picked up everything around you, all the things that were happening, all the things said, all the things felt, etc. You experienced as a child, and you picked those up, and you started to formulate a belief about life. And for a majority of us, we grew up in circumstances and situations, we grew up in households where the individuals around us believe themselves to be powerless, whether it was a result of their religious programming or the secular programming, whether it's a result of their belief about what their doctrine says or what the media says, right? It doesn't matter what form it took, but the result was the same. We started to pick up the belief that we are not in control of our life situation or our life circumstances. Now, there is a truth in that we are not in control of how things unfold in most cases, but we are always in control of whether or not our lives are heading in a good direction or a positive direction or a negative direction. We are always in control of whether our lives are higher or lower, whether our lives are joyful or unhappy. This may seem like a revolutionary idea, but we have absolute autonomy and control of the direction that our lives go, whether things get better and better or things get worse and worse. And that all comes down to our belief systems. That all comes down to the thoughts and the emotions that we repeat to ourselves. And so when it comes to the victim mentality, a multitude of us found ourselves as victims at one point in our lives, or the belief that we're victims, because we did not understand the principle or did not understand the universal truth that we are the creators of our own life circumstance. We are literally writing the scripts of our lives as we go forward. You might have been raised with predestination or things are destiny, etc. The only destiny that you have is that you are the creator. The only truth that there is that you choose the life experience that you embark on. There is true free will. And you create your life not through manipulation of the external or willing things into existence by physically doing something, but it is an internal experience. It is the thoughts that you choose to continue to think and the emotions that come as a result of those thoughts. Now, I want to backtrack a little bit because I did get a little ahead of myself. Is when you start to realize and figure out that you are believing from a victim mindset, right? You believe that you're powerless, or you believe that you're not in control of the situations and circumstances that happen in your life. The first thing that has to happen is kind of like AA, right? You got to be aware and you got to accept. So your awareness can allow you to deny it, it can allow you to reject it, or it allows you to accept it so you can actually transcend it to move forward. And I would obviously encourage you to accept the truth as it is, because I promise you, though they may say that ignorance is bliss, quote unquote, There ain't no bliss in suffering. There's no bliss in continuously living the same experience over and over again and feeling as if your life is never moving in the direction that you truly desire. There's no bliss in frustration after frustration. There's no bliss in trauma, right? And that's one of the topics that often comes up when people say, well, how am I not a victim if I've been victimized? And yes, you might have been victimized. You might have gone through situations, circumstances people cannot even fathom or imagine. But I am here to speak the power back into you. I'm here to tell you that there are beliefs that you are given as an infant, as a child, that started to attract to you things that probably felt like they broke you. They probably felt as if they shifted the course of your entire life, and your life has now been built around those traumas. And is it fair that our children, our babies, are fed with these mindsets and these mentalities that set them up to attract these type of lives? Absolutely not. But now you have an opportunity to transcend. Now you have an opportunity to shift in a different mentality, in a different state of consciousness within yourself. Now you have control, or you recognize and you remember that you've always been in control of the narrative. It's just that you've been on autopilot this whole time. You've just been perpetuating the same beliefs because you might have not known that you were the one steering the ship the entire time. And so we must be aware of that truth. We are the attractors of our life experiences, and we are the creators of our life conditions. And again, I don't just mean that in a way that most of the world would say, well, yes, you can control how you act, you can control the things you do. I mean it at a core level. There's so individuals who believe that we can't control how we feel. Our feelings, our emotions are a result of our thoughts. So if we shift our thoughts and we start to transform and transcend our thought process, we can actually change our emotional state. Facts. So once we come to that state of awareness, then we jump into the space where, okay, then now what do I do? How do I stop seeing myself as a victim? Well, once you become aware that you're the creator, you're actually already outside of that mindset that you're a victim. But what you are now in need of, or the next desire that you would have, is then how have I been creating these things, or how can you prove that to me so then I can start changing things. I can start shifting things within my, physical reality. And to answer that first question of, well, how can you show me that I was the one creating this? Or maybe you might even say, I never had these desires, but these things were happening to me. Now, let me give you a little quick masterclass on the law of attraction, or on simply how things manifest into our physical experience. So you have what we call vibration, which is still something that most of us don't fully understand. Even Nikola Tesla, who studied this his entire life. But what we do know is that when we're in a certain emotional state, and emotion simply means energy in motion, right? It is two words, energy in motion. So when we're in a specific emotion or energy in motion state, then we bring to us things that have that same energy in motion, or that same emotional state. So if we carry an energy or an emotion of fear, we attract to ourselves things that resonate or connect to or are the same as that energy of fear. So we'll attract to ourselves situations, circumstances, and interactions that are based in the energy of fear, right? If I am projecting out an emotion of paranoia, I will attract to myself situations that will make me more paranoid, or seemingly make me more paranoid. But truly what is happening or taking place is that I'm attracted to myself experiences into my reality that resonate with paranoia. So I might be in a paranoid state of mind. All of a sudden I see police behind me. I'm thinking, oh my goodness, this is why I'm paranoid, because police are always, behind me, and, people are trying to do me wrong. And I'm always ending up in places and meeting people that are sketchy. Like, you think these things are happening to you, but truly it's because you're holding yourself in the emotion. Things start as unseen and turn into the seen. Things start as imagination, then manifest into the physical. And anybody who wanted to prove that wrong, please tell me one thing in your physical environment that did not start off as a thought. Tell me one thing in your physical environment, or tell yourself one thing in your physical environment that did not start out as a thought. Everything around me started out as thought. And so when it comes to our experiences, we sometimes have this disconnect of experiences would also start out as thought, right? So we think, or we have been trained that things happen and then we react to them. When in reality, we are thinking something or feeling a certain way and fixating on that and focusing and meditating on those thoughts, on those images in our mind, on those emotions. And we start to draw to ourselves those very experiences that resonate with that emotion, right? We're taught that things happen to us and then we get sad. Things happen to us and we feel peaceful. When in truth, the peace within us that we choose to experience creates the external circumstance. So now you might say, well, then, if that's true, then how do I create peace in myself when everything around me is so crazy, when everything around me is falling apart seemingly? And I'll say, first and foremost, what you're witnessing as your external environment is nothing more than the beliefs that you've been holding up to that part or up to that time in your life. So if you had a belief system that, you can never make ends meet, you ain't never got enough money, then your pocketbook or your bank account pocketbook, like people still use those, your bank account will relate or resonate with that belief system. So if you want to see what you truly believe about life, look at the areas of your life and you will see, because all of it has been a direct manifestation or reflection of your beliefs. So I look at my bank account and it's going to tell me what I believe about money. If I look at my relationship, it's going to tell me what I believe about relationships. If I look at, my career, it's going to tell me what I believe about career. Or my job or the lack of a job is going to tell me what I believe about that, right? So therefore, the thing that must be changed in order to truly transcend and overcome the victim mentality is, again, awareness, understanding, and the understanding is how the laws of the universe truly work, like how life truly works. And then now is the actual solution, and that you will see in real time, is changing your thought process, changing the way you think. Now, this one is obviously the master key to it all, right? Changing the way you think, because it changes the way you feel about life. And those emotions project, reflect, and attract. So once you come to the acceptance that you are the creator, you have to now say, how am I creating? And the answer is through your thoughts, which is your imagination or your imaging center, and through your energy and motion, which is your emotions. So when you think on something, when you conjure up an idea in your mind and you hold on to that emotion and you continue to repeat that process, that thing is coming into your physical experience. So most people might not recognize it at first because it starts to manifest first as more thoughts, right? So you hold on to a thought and more thoughts like it attract. That's why we go down a spiral. You feel yourself in a negative spiral is because the law of attraction is attracting more thoughts just like it. And then it starts to attract more emotions like it. Then it starts to attract interactions. It starts to attract situations, and then those calcify or those become conditions of your life, right? So when we do that in a positive state, in an empowering state of mind, when we're fixated on or putting our thoughts and putting our focus and putting our attention and intention on positive things, then we start to experience positive emotions. And our emotions then start to attract to us more positive interactions. So you might walk outside, it might be a butterfly flies by you, right? Because you have been focusing on anything, and it could be anything, again, because energy is energy. The universe doesn't speak language. It doesn't speak English. It doesn't speak Arabic. It doesn't speak Swahili. It doesn't speak Mandarin. It only reflects in energy or in vibration. So if you say something, but you feel something completely different, your energy is what's going to attract that thing to you. It's not the words that you're using. So when we use words or affirmations, we want to find words and affirmations that bring the best feeling within us, and it doesn't matter what they are. Or we want to focus our mind or our imagination on those things that bring us to a higher emotional place, to a more joyful emotional place, to a more happy or more content or more peaceful state of mind. Because once we're in a peaceful state of mind, we then experience the emotion, the energy of peace within us, and that attracts to us peaceful situations, peaceful circumstances, peaceful interactions, and therefore peaceful conditions. Like we become a peaceful person having a peaceful life through the choosing of peaceful thoughts and peaceful emotions. And if that seems like something that is a hurdle or it seems like a lot of work or whatever it may be, I promise you that what's a lot of work is living a life of misery, living a life on repeat, living the life that you do not desire over and over and over again. And so if you're somebody who is in this process, I'm going to link another video to this that walks you through the process of how to recondition those childhood thoughts or those childhood belief systems, the childhood programming and conditioning. But I also want to extend an invitation to you at this moment. I am opening up my calendar for the next few weeks, maybe the next few months, depending on just some things that we're building out, right? But for right now, I'm opening up my calendar for one-on-one consultations. These are private consultations. An hour and 15 will be on the phone, and we'll get to the bottom of exactly what you're going through. I will give you a process step by step of exactly how to put this into real life, real practical processes, really, because all of life is process. It's just knowing how to apply the process and how to work that process and work it for you. Now, I appreciate you. I love you. If you are somebody who's ready for that call, make sure to go into the description below. Click on that link that allows you to go to my calendar, pick a time, pick a day that works for both of us, and let's get to the bottom of it. I love you. I appreciate you. Peace.